So, hello everybody. Stephanie here. Greetings from Rocky Mountains. We are just outside the west entrance of the national park at, I think that this is Great Lake, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what I remember reading. So how's everybody doing? Oh, the sun's going to be right in my face. We had planned to come live to you guys from the national park, but going up such high elevation and being away from civilization, one of the most beautiful things about that is being completely out of touch with the rest of the world and being cut off from technology. So, you know, good and the bad. So I was like, oh well, we can't go live from here, but lots of pictures will follow. So it has been a beautiful day, and it is a Rocky Mountain high. I had no idea or expectation of what this day would hold. In our original plans, we would have been traveling to and from the same entrance. So I'm super grateful that we decided to take the evening last night in Denver, because then we were able to enter the national park through the east side and drive all the way through to come out on the west side to head to Vail for the evening. So yeah, I highly suggest. Look, last year we drove through Denver and it was kind of unexpected, and you know, due to the situation that we had just experienced with all of our belongings being stolen, we were quite traumatized. And we were leaving Salt Lake from Young Living Essential Oil Grand Convention last year, and we had just planned to drive straight home. And I know that sounds ludicrous. I think that that's 28 hours or 32, I can't remember. And so we drove and we came through, I forget what it's called, and I promise you, I plan to do this and pay more attention to it this time around. But we were in a canyon, and I said to Neil, I think we need to stop. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, because it was dusk. I mean, it was a little further than dusk. And I was like, I think we're going to regret not seeing this tomorrow. And he was like, are you sure you want to stop? And because, you know, all we really wanted to do was just get home. You know, we were all emotional. For those of you who know us in real life, you know how devastated we were at that point. But we ended up, because we stay with SPG Starwood Preferred Guests, that we stay with that chain of hotels, which is Sheraton and the Westin and W, all of those great hotels, which now combined with the Marriott, so I just don't know where we'll never be able to stay with them again. But they had a couple of places when I called them, because we couldn't get a whole lot of internet service, so I had to physically call somebody, and she was like, I have you guys at a place, and you know, got the address and put it in to the maps. And when we arrived, we were just really overwhelmed at where we were, and it was the Westin Resort, which is where we're heading back to this evening. And it just was one of those God nods. For those of you who know me well, know don't just look for them often. I expect them daily, those miracle signs and wonders, and they come in different packages, and a lot of times it's because our eyes, depending on who I'm talking to, aren't wide open. And so we ended up staying there that evening, and right at the foot of on Beaver Creek, at the foot of the I don't ski, obviously. Winter sports are not my thing. Snow is not my thing. Because otherwise we probably would have never gone there for that reason, because that's what people know it for. But it was just a lovely place. People, I don't know, one of those out of world experiences. And so we made that promise when we left, because we even looked at buying a condo here, which is insane to me, because again, not a winter fan, but love it so much here at this time of year, and there's so much to do. And anyway, long story short, that's why we're going back to stay this time around, is to enjoy all of the amenities and everything that it has to offer, and see if that's something that we would be interested in investing in. And then because right after a traumatic experience is never a good time to make such a large decision, right? And thankfully we had enough wits about us, even though they're pretty good at selling you on it. But yeah, that's just how it is. But what was I going to say? Oh, so that we can go back through those canyons. So I'm really excited to see that, and hopefully we can come live. And we may not be able to. It may just have to be standard old video, so that we can get that, because we may not have service again. It's just so, I'm sitting here and it's just so beautiful and breathtaking just to be surrounded by all this nature and goodness, and that's what I want to talk about. So last year when we did this trip, so had several people make comments and ask, how are we doing this, and I don't know if I want to get into all of that. And I wrote a blog about that last year, about how we're able to do this. And this is a business trip, because every year we go to Salt Lake City for Young Living Essential Oils Grand Convention. And any home business, you have that's one of the beauties and the perks of having that, is that it affords you opportunity for travel, for extensive training. And so when I go to this, you all know that I love my oils, and that I love sharing them, and that I use them in holistic healing, and it's just it's part of my lifestyle, and I love to educate people about that. But regardless of whatever your home business is, it should be something that you're passionate about. But it allows you the opportunity to travel. And so the first year that we decided to come to convention, I had thought about flying, and it was like, because both of our names are on the account, so we're both technically business owners, and we could only write our tickets off, we couldn't write the kids, and it was like, well, then we have to drive. And I thought that was insane, but we drive to Florida all the time, like it's down the road. Shout out to my Florida peeps. We'll be coming down that way soon. But before, that's the only place that we vacationed, because I lived down there for so long, and that's where I could see my friends. Oh, that's a shadow from my glasses. We're quite dirty. We did lots of hiking today. I'll get into that in a minute. But so I had people ask that, and that's one of the reasons. So we did that the first year, and that's when we realized we really enjoyed taking the cross-country trip, because it allows us to see things that you otherwise wouldn't see if we flew into a place. Even if we rented a car, we're not going to see all of these things. And it was that first year when we were first starting with Young Living that we decided to expand business in Florida, that we just got in the car one day mid-July, and without plans or reservations, which was quite scary for me, who's a recovering type A, to go down. And it was like, I don't know why you're afraid, because all of your girlfriends live, we've kind of all dispersed from Orlando into all areas of Florida. And he was like, I don't know why you're concerned about, there's like hotel capital of the world. There'll be plenty of accommodations. Like, we'll do it. And as scary as it was, that's what we did. We went without a reservation, without a plan, and it was the most freeing vacation. I think we spent 2 weeks that time, because we hadn't taken a vacation at all that year. That was that year of grief that you can read about. And I'm going to make it short, because I'm going to lose the battery and I won't be able to upload this to YouTube. But so it was very freeing, and so that's why we continue to do these trips. The only reservations we make are when we go to Salt Lake City, because there are 30,000 oilers coming in town, and hotels are not plentiful there. And so we will make the reservations for next year while we're there this year, so that we have a place to stay. And yes, we stay. This will be the first year staying with the Sheraton actually there, because the last 2 years we've missed. They've booked before we've been able to get them. So hopefully we continue this streak where we stay with SPG there as well. But so I encourage you for several things. I encourage you to maybe find that at-home business that you have passion for, that takes your dharma or your purpose in life to the next place. The byproduct of that is, yes, it's great, that the perk of traveling and the perk of making some money, but that's not why we do this. We really do want to share all of those wonderful products, those tools that we keep in our emotional toolbox. The other thing I want to say is, don't ever let a traumatic incident, a painful thing, stop you from pursuing. So I was thinking about that as we were getting ready to leave. There was a lot of anxiety in all of us, and none of us really spoke about it, about making this trip with all of our belongings. And, you know, we really wanted to like scale back of what we were packing, but once again, we're packing from mountain weather to desert weather, and so we really have to bring quite a bit. And like, you know, after what happened last year, we were a little bit hesitant to bring, you know, I don't know, it was just one of those moments, and we just had to overcome that fear. And once we got in the car and started driving, you know, it started to dissipate. And you know what, Jacob said it the best last year as we were leaving San Diego with nothing but the clothes on our back, is that, you know, sometimes God allows, or sometimes everything has to go to make room for something new. And I don't remember exactly what he said it, but that was the gist of it. And oh, how deep that goes. You know, there was a second chance for my marriage, my relationship, and you know, and even though, look, in the Rocky Mountains things may be rocky, it's still on a course of reconciliation. And so, you know, that is part of change, and that's part of life. And for those of you who have a significant other or spouse, you understand that. And, you know, we all who have been married for longer than a minute can understand why marriage rate fails at 50% or succeeds at 50%, whichever way you want to look at it. But I was just thinking about all of these highs and lows as we were going through the hills and the valleys. And we're not talking about just hills and valleys, we're talking about mountains and deep valleys. I think the highest point we were at today was 12,000 feet above sea level. So I'm not sure where we're at now, but we will be heading down into the desert, so I figure we'll be bottoming out. I don't know if we will or not, to be honest. Well, I guess we will when we get to the west coast. But who's this speaking up? Hi, Vicky. I certainly missed you at practice this morning. I heard that y'all did legs up the wall since this leg wasn't there, and I love that. I love that Shauna messaged me that. It made me feel close to home today. And so I have not had my yoga practice, and I'll give you one good guess of where my yoga practice will come today. Right here by this lake. And so and what's interesting is but the Westin that we're going to stay at has a yoga studio on site. So I've blogged about it last year. Y'all can check it out, but I'll probably go live from there as well. But anyway, I just wanted to say hi, bring you to see some of this natural beauty and what this amazing country has to offer. And what I was going to say is that the trip going from Salt Lake City to home, it's a 2-hour out of the way trek to come to the Rocky Mountain National Park. And I wonder how many people are deterred from that drive if they're coming into Denver to visit. Whatever it is, don't do it. I suggest do it. Just go, even if you can only go in just a little bit, because most of the road that we took today is shut down from October until Memorial Day because the weather is insane. But you'll see that in the pictures of the things that I took. Yes, it is a great place to practice. The kids are over there with Neil in the clearing playing ball, so I think I'm going to take advantage of this little spot and to exit out of here at this point before the battery dies. So much love to all of you. Stay tuned. I'm not sure, like I said, not 100% sure where we will be going or when we'll be coming live, but I can promise it will be from somewhere spectacular. And check onto the page so that you can see the pictures from the Rocky Mountains, because it was just breathtaking, once in a lifetime stuff, guys. So much love to you all. Legs out.